Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'll be reviewing the fourth release in the Disney Midnight Masquerade series. So we have here is Yzma from The Emperor's New Groove, and Yzma and Hades, which is the last to be released, is gonna be the most sought after releases, I suppose, since they two have never been done before, and this is the first time that we see really any merchandise based on them, and to see them directly to be made into limited edition dolls really just kind of up the game a little bit, and not only that, it's not helpful that the Disney store designers actually did a really good job, designing these two the costumes for these two characters, which only just gonna up the value even more. So let's get started. On the front of the box here, we have, of course, the huge artwork of Yzma. And as you can see, she has her crazy eyelashes, sort of like depicted over there. You have a bunch of all these kind of like furs and feathers, which you couldn't really clearly see in the sketch. But, as you get to the doll and to the colored illustrations on the back of the box, you will see it more clearly. And on the left hand side, of course, we have the mask design of Yzma. And one thing that I didn't notice at first was that the mask actually incorporates both Yzma as a human and also in her cat form, in which the cat sort of like almost mauling over Yzma's face. And that kind of one of those things that I kind of see later as you kind of study the design more. It's a really clever illusion because it's not something that really stands out, but it will if you actually look at it real closely. And Yzma, in terms of the number of limited edition, it's actually the I believe the second to lowest. I believe the lowest in the series is Hades. I'm not sure why. I suppose they're not as popular, which is the reason they've never been made as doll as much. But at the same time, this is the first time they're made as dolls, and a lot of people are gonna want to really collect them. So, yeah, I'm sure. Well, I wish you kind of like the best of luck, really, to collect the rest of these the series because they're gonna be a lot tougher as you go on. So as we move on to the back of the box, we have a continuation of her hand right there. And of course, in the back, we have the full artwork of Yzma. So let's get closer right here. You can see Yzma. And she has this sort of like Aztec inspired golden crown. And you can see clearly some of the feathers on the back of the crown. And of course, the one feather headdress that sort of like curls on the back of her, which of course is based from the one in the film. And you can see she has a choker and a bit of a, it's a dress that's very similar to the one that she wore in the film, which is, I really don't mind because, this is the first time we're getting her. So it's nice to have a bit of a reminiscent and familiar quality to her outfit, to the one that we recognize in the movie. And of course, in the bottom, we have an illustration of Yzma as a cat. And he's a very furious looking kitty. And of course, in the bottom, we have the regular description right there. And on the side, we have the word of Yzma all written up. And I love the color palette in this doll. She has a lot of purples and magentas, and also a bit of gold because that's really her character. So as we go to the front again, when you open up the box, you're gonna see there's no doll right there because I decided to remove it first, so it's easier for me to review for you guys, having the doll removed from the box. So as you can see, she has this sort of like very geometrical, sort of like very Aztec type of framing right there, sort of like similar to Cusco's palace in the film. And you can see a bit the cat's expression right there again. And of course the one right there as well. So the certificate on the inside, you couldn't really see it, but I believe I got a pretty low number. I believe it was in the 900 33 or something like that. It's a pretty low number, which I'm kind of glad to have gotten it with Yzma, because she's gonna be rare to begin with. So I'm glad to have had that low number. So there's the box right there. I'm just gonna move this to the side. I'm gonna bring you the main attraction herself, which is Yzma, right here. Wow, I really didn't care that much when they first announced most of the dolls in the series, but really Yzma, when you look at it in person, I mean, her design really kind of wows you because of all the gold and the extravagant feathering that they have, and really a lot more elements that's sort of like going on here and there, more than any of the other Disney villains so far. I mean, I think Lady Tremaine actually kind of came close because of her cage sort of like skirt design, but really Yzma with all the gold against the purple, it really makes this doll kind of like pops a lot more. So let's get started on the face right here. So Yzma, of course, a lot of people are asking whether she has rooted hair or not. Well, if you actually watch the movie, she doesn't. She's pretty much bald, you know. There was one scene in which she just kind of wakes up from her beauty sleep, sort of. And you can see she only has like 2 strands of wisps of hair on her head, really. That really just made Kronk even sort of like writhe in agony. So, no, Yzma has no rooted hair because that's not in her character to have hair. So instead, she has all this kind of like plastic moldings, which kind of extends to the back to kind of show you a bit of her feather right there, which I think is made pretty well. And of course, on the feather right here, a lot of people are also complaining that it's not a real feather. But in my opinion, you know, when you're dealing with feathers, eventually they're either gonna just kind of wear out, and even if you don't touch them a lot, they're just gonna wither, you know, as time go on. So to have this kind of like plastic, sort of like rubbery molding in replacement of the feather, I think it's a better idea, because of course it's gonna keep its shape really for years to come. So, you know, in this exception, I think using plastic feather instead of real feather, I think is the way to go. And of course, she has this extra crown, so like a golden crown. It's shaped like a snake, and of course, it's very Aztec, very Mesoamerican, as you can see by the geometric shape and everything, just very square-ish. And of course, her face, I think it's one of the best sculpts that the Disney Store has done, because I collect WDCC as well, and as you can see in the channel, I actually just uploaded my review of the WDCC Yzma, which they only made 500 pieces of, and as you can see, the face sculpts on both are pretty close, you know. Besides a few more wrinkles on the sculpture, I think this head sculpt that they did of Yzma is really good. You know, I understand that they didn't give her more wrinkles. I know it might look displeasing on a doll. You know, on a sculpture, I suppose it's more acceptable, but on a doll, I think overall the face needs to have a more smooth look. So they did their best to add just enough wrinkles, and the only thing that they made sure that they do is to have the shape of her cheekbones and the jaw lines and the chins all exactly the same, and that really is the one huge advantage of this doll. And of course, she has her signature long eyelashes, which is, you know, Disney is not, they're not unfamiliar with making long eyelashes on princesses and villains, so I don't think it should be much of a chore right there. But of course, everything else is just perfect. So as we get on to the bottom of the outfit, you have her 2 earrings, which is made of this kind of like sort of like metal piece. It's very sharp, and it's made colored in a violet purple color. And of course, she has this kind of like black choker, which is actually based in the movie again. in the movie she actually has a black choker, and she has a feather sort of like collar, which is in the shape of this feather right here. So they just kind of replace the feather from her color to the top of her head, which is a smart move, you know, considering they're kind of trying to make an allusion to the original film. So as we go down to the dress, it's not much. I think I kind of wish they kind of done a bit more some embroidery right here. It would have added a little bit to the dress, and maybe some gold linings in this part right here. I don't expect embroidery here because it's a small area, but at least a gold lining or of some sort would have added more like a pop of color. Just like in here, you know, you have this gold against the purple, and it really adds a lot of layer into the gown itself. So yeah, I kind of wish they'd done a lot more in the bodice area. But yeah, the one thing that I love is that they kind of make this kind of like chain around the waist, and they have these 3 rubies. There's 2 on the side right there and 1 on the front. And on the side of the waist, they kind of add more of this kind of like feathering quality again. You know, I think with Yzma, they kind of went with the whole feathering idea a lot. So I kind of like that about her. And the other thing that I love is that they added these 3 individual bracelets, which is pretty nice. It's kind of very 80s. And of course, they have a new hand mold. It's which has this very long nail, and it's kind of painted in pink, which is very appropriate for Yzma. You can see the other one right there. I love that they decided to use a different one rather than just you know, using a generic hand, because that wouldn't have been Yzma 100%. So of course on the side right here we have her really gold mask. I really love whenever they use gold. I think the other time they use gold in the series is on Lady Tremaine, and I really love the effect, especially on Yzma, because the geometric shape really complements the gold really well. You know, it kind of adds a certain rigidity and hardness to the piece. Really makes it pops up. So I really love that. So as you go to the bottom, you can see this kind of like more embroidery right here, shaped in a more, of course, the Mesoamerican, very Aztec type of patterns. It's kind of shaped like a lightning for some reason. I guess, you know, it has something to do with the character, I suppose. But of course, another unique thing about this gown is the fact that they decided to have this sort of like shoulder type of very sharp shoulder type of shoulder pad dress, which is kind of like similar to Jafar's shoulders pads in the film. And it's very unique. It has a wire inside, so you can shape it any way you want. And of course she has this kind of like really satin, not satin, kind of like really thin sort of like I guess suppose organza or something like that fabric, and on the bottom there's another layer of purple. And of course she has her shoes on the side there, which is actually just a regular black high heels. It's not, you can't really see it, but it's just a regular black heels. So there you have it. That's my review of this 4th release of the Midnight Masquerade Yzma. As you can see, I kind of skipped over Ursula, but that's because she hasn't arrived yet. So the moment she arrives, I will immediately review her for you guys, and I can't wait for her to arrive. So I really hope you enjoyed this review, and I wish you luck, you know, in the next 2 releases. You know, the Evil Queen, I think it's not going to be as hard, because I feel like she has the worst design out of all of them. But I think Hades is going to be a tough one. So I really wish you guys luck on that one, and also on me. So thanks guys. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and leave more of your collection stories down in the comments below.